In this video, we're going to be talking about stem cells. Let's start by defining what stem cells are. Stem cells are undifferentiated cells without any function. Now, we have different cells in our bodies, each with a type of function. For example, skin cells protect our body, while nerve cells transmit signals throughout the body. Stem cells, however, have no structure or function, but they do have the potential to become other cells in the body. This is very useful for multiple reasons. So the first one is regenerative medicine. In regenerative medicine, stem cells can be used to create body parts that are either harmed by disease or by injury. The second one is to understand about how the body works by watching these stem cells develop into tissue. So learn about cell development. In order to truly understand stem cells, we have to talk about some terms first. The first term we're going to discuss is called potency. So what potency is that it is the number of possible fates that a cell has, or open to a cell. It decreases as cells become more specialized, so we can say that low potency means high specialization. The second term is self-renewal. Based on what we've said, we can say that stem cells are cells with variable potency that can self-renew. Self-renewal means that the stem cell can divide and give rise to two cells. The first cell is another stem cell, while the second cell is a progenitor cell, which is more committed, which means that it has already decided on a fate. Now, we're going to talk about the main types of stem cells. There are four main types of stem cells. The first one is a totipotent stem cell. A totipotent stem cell can develop into any form of cell in the body. The second is a pluripotent stem cell. The pluripotent cell can develop into many cells in the body. The third type is a multipotent stem cell, which can develop into specialized cells based on their origin. And the final one is a unipotent stem cell, which can develop into just one cell type. A quick way to remember this is that totipotent cells have all fates possible, whereas pluripotent and multipotent stem cells have many fates possible. Of course, the pluripotent has more than the multipotent stem cells in terms of fates, and the unipotent stem cells have just one fate possible. Let's talk about these in more detail. Let's start with the totipotent stem cell. As we've said, they can develop into any cell in the body. An example of that is, of course, the zygote. The zygote happens right after the egg and sperm combine together and they are fertilized. The one totipotent cell divides into more identical totipotent cells and develops the whole body. So there's another term for that called omnipotent stem cell. Omni meaning all, the all-powerful cell that can produce the entire body. The next is the pluripotent stem cells, which are actually formed 4 days after fertilization. After the totipotent cells start specializing, they form a blastocyst. Inside of that blastocyst is a cluster of cells called the inner cell mass. This is where we extract the pluripotent stem cells or the embryonic stem cells. This is another name for them. Now, how do we get them? We actually get them from the embryos that are excess ones produced from in vitro fertilization. This is considered a very controversial practice because it destroys an egg that could have been planted to form a baby. These pluripotent or embryonic stem cells can be used to get a renewable source of healthy cells that can treat diseases like heart diseases and diabetes, and also generate cells for transplantation. The third cell type is the multipotent stem cells. They are unspecialized cells that can self-renew and differentiate into specialized cells based on their embryonical origin. So, differentiate based on origin. They can rise other cell types, but they're limited in their ability to differentiate. These types of stem cells can be used as a stem cell therapy to treat diseases. So, for example, with leukemia, which is a type of blood cancer in which it produces abnormal white blood cells that can't fight infections. In stem cell therapy for leukemia, we use something called hematopoietic stem cell transplantation. So, what are hematopoietic stem cells? Hematopoietic stem cells are stem cells that are multipotent and they have the ability to form blood. Like red blood cells and white blood cells. So, in stem cell therapy for leukemia, a doctor takes bone marrow from a patient or a donor, and these samples have hematopoietic blood cells in them. Chemotherapy is then used to kill abnormal stem cells. Then the hematopoietic stem cells are injected into a patient to form blood cells like normal white blood cells, which can then fight off infections. The final stem cell type is the unipotent stem cell. They're cells that can differentiate along only one lineage. Now, they're found in adult tissues and they have the lowest differential potential, as they can only become one thing. For example, skin cells are one of the most abundant types of unipotent stem cells, and they're used to treat burn victims. The epithelium is the outermost tissue layer, which in itself has a top layer of dead epithelial cells. By taking a part of a patient's own undamaged skin stem cells, sheets of skin can be developed to transplant over burned areas of a patient's body. Now that we're done talking about the main types of stem cells, I'm going to show you an image to wrap everything up. This is an image that represents the specialization of cells. So we start off here with totipotent stem cells. An example of that is the morula, which happens right after fertilization of an egg and a sperm. Then we have the pluripotent stem cells, or the embryonic stem cells, which are gotten from the inner mast cell of the blastocyst, which occurs 4 days after fertilization. The next stem cell is the multipotent stem cell. As you can see here, the more we moved downwards, the lower potency and the higher specialization occurred. So first, the totipotent cell had so many fates to go through, but right here, when we've reached the multipotent stage, it can only become hematopoietic stem cells or mesenchymal stem cells. As we've said, the hematopoietic stem cells are blood forming, so they can form erythrocytes, leukocytes, or thrombocytes. By the time we reach the unipotent stem cells here, there is only one type of fate available for these cells here of the mesenchymal cells. So osteogenesis can occur in order to create bone cells, or myogenesis can occur in order to create muscle cells. This is why unipotent stem cells only have one lineage and one possible fate. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you were able to learn about what stem cells are, their uses, important terms like potency and self-renewal, and the 4 main types of stem cells and their specialization. Please consider subscribing for more videos of this nature. Thank you for watching.